everyone, welcome back. I'm YK Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we're here with a blended whiskey that I think is quite underappreciated, and that is Gordon Graham's Black Bottle. So this blend was introduced in 1876 by the Graham brothers, David, Charles and Gordon, I believe. And they were members of a family of merchants from Aberdeen who were tea blenders, but then moved on to blending whiskey instead, as a lot of people kind of did back in the blending era. And originally this bottle was presented in a black glass bottle that was imported from Germany, hence its name. But after the outbreak of the First World War, they swapped to green glass because they couldn't get that glass imported from Germany anymore, which is quite understandable. So Black Bottle is a blended whiskey that of course consists of single malts and grain whiskey, and they're from the Highlands, Speyside and then Islay, so it has a bit of a smoky twist to it. It is bottled at 40% ABV, and I also believe that the Islay part is primarily from Bunnahabhain, and I absolutely love this kind of vintage vibe that this bottle has, and I mean, I can't wait to try it, so let's do that. And we'll start by having a look on the nose. I think this is a wonderful note. It's so fruity, but then you get like this kind of teasing you with a little bit of like throwing a little bit of Islay smoke at you. It's kind of a mixture between fresh and tropical fruits. It's a little bit like peaches, but a little bit of pineapple and a little bit of pears and apples. On the nose is very kind of approachable, which you do tend to get with a lot of 40%, but it still has a lot of those fruity qualities that just kind of draws you in. And then that Islay smoke is just lowering behind going, come on, you know you want to try me. And the Islay smoke is more like a bonfire smoke, like a big bonfire warming. It's not towards maritime. It just feels like it's going to be very juicy and kind of with that whiff of smoke. But let's have a little taste. Slanjava. A lovely blend. It has all that fruitiness coming out, which makes it very, very juicy, very approachable, but then this kind of cloud of smoke comes as well. And it is, how am I going to describe it? So it's definitely this kind of big Islay bonfire smoke, but because it's mixed with the fruitiness, it feels softer. But it's definitely a big smokiness there. But I would say it's maybe 30% smoke and 70% fruitiness. So there's more fruitiness than smoke, if that makes sense. And it has this soft spice as well. Soft, dry, lingering feeling as well. I kind of feel it like on the outside of my mouth and underneath, and that there's like a ball of fruitiness in the middle, which is, the edges are like charry, bonfire, oaky, forest. And this is kind of fruitiness that's just a mix of green apples, juicy pears, like a soft, slight, juicy pineapple perhaps, and some like fresh, crisp peachiness. It lingers with an oakiness, and that kind of charry notes is what is kind of lingering with you on the finish, but you also, it's like you have this memory of the juicy fruitiness in your mouth, so your mouth keeps watering alongside that kind of drying, oaky sensation that makes you just want to have more. And I think this is one of those whiskies that every time I've had it, it just disappears so quickly, and I don't know what happens, and then you just want another one because it's I feel like this is one of those brilliantly executed blends that I could just sip whenever. If I want a little bit of smoke, it has it. If I want fruitiness, it has it. If I want sweetness, it's quite sweet, not overly sweet, but it still has enough sweetness for me to like it in a sweet occasion. If I want something slightly drying, then it has that kind of slight oakiness as well. I mean, I guess you can tell, but I really like this. And it has an interesting history. I mean, I love teas, and I love this story that old tea blenders turned into whiskey blenders, because it's kind of the same mixture of blending flavors. But I also know that the history with Black Bottle, because it's been owned by different companies, so at one point it was quite heavy on the smoke. It was a very kind of peated blend, but then I think they said that the Islay kind of took over the character of the blend. And I think the actual saying was that Black Bottle lost itself in Islay, instead of just having like the heart of Islay. So a really interesting whiskey as well. I feel like I just forget how nice this is. Now when I'm trying it again, when I'm looking for sweetness, I get that kind of grain sweetness I absolutely love. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know how much I like a grain whiskey. It's that grain sweetness, the crispness. It goes really well with the fruitiness and that lovely, lovely smoke. With this other sip, it just had this kind of layer of like almost like caramel sponge cake. Almost like burnt caramel, if it's like burnt butter sponge cake perhaps. It's this kind of sweetness you get from sponge cake, along with something more towards like caramel or toffee. There's just so many lovely layers. And of course this is quite an interesting whiskey, so it has a blend of those different whiskies I mentioned earlier from Highlands, Speyside and Islay, both grain whiskies and single malts, and it's been double matured, so it's been finished for around 6 to 9 months in virgin oak casks, which is of course oak that hasn't been touched by whiskey before. And those casks are of course typically used for making bourbon, that by law has to use those fresh casks. And in these virgin casks, that's where all of these different malts and the different grains gets kind of married together. So all these kind of flavours just combine to make this lovely whiskey. I would of course love to hear what you think of Black Bottle, if you've tried it before, or have you perhaps tried any of their other expressions, for example the Black Bottle 10. And if you haven't tried this yet, perhaps you know of another blend with a slight influence of peat that is your favourite. If you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and of course on my other social channels, I'd of course be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links with Master of Malt, the Whiskey Exchange and SMWS the next time you're shopping with them. All of that information is of course in the description here below, as well as links to my Patreon, my website, my Instagram, and of course my new Teespring shop if you're looking for some whiskey merch. I want to say of course a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon that keep supporting me throughout my whiskey journey. Thank you so much. But of course I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Slán Skål!